What's up, folks? Welcome to 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗀.tv. I'm in my hotel room. And so the question is, could the midterms be delayed? Are they in jeopardy? Could Trump sign the Insurrection Act? A lot of stuff is boiling over right now, but I'm going to tell you this. We got to wait until it's just right, just the right ripe, just at the right time. It's got to be just the right ripe. And like I've said, you've heard my guests say over and over and over, there will be an executive order that's coming that Trump is going to sign for fair and secure elections. But to ensure that, could there be military securing them as well? Could there be military on the streets, especially in the Democratic hellholes, which we all know, which you've heard on my show, the 14 cities where all this could fall back to are in civil unrest. It's all coming, folks. And I think you can all see it and feel it. The pulse is live, baby. Yeah, it's all coming. It's all coming. And I'm very excited about this because you know why? I've been paying a lot of attention to this. I've been watching this for a very long time. And you know what? I've been expecting this for a very long time. 6 years? Longer? So we're right at that point now where all of this is starting to get to that right climax, baby, the money shot. And it's coming. It's coming. Trump is a wartime president. And if you don't understand that, he's not here to make peace. He's here for war against the globalists. And that's what's happening. Folks, hit that notification button, like, share, subscribe. I know I'm coming at you live at a different time today, but I had doctor's appointments I had to go to. I did a whole medical scan, the whole thing. I have a friend that's going to pass away very soon. Yes, he's planning his own memorial. It's very sad. It kind of scared me and all my friends. So I went to go get a whole medical scan done. So we'll see what happens there. Folks, Venmo, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏1977, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏1977. Also, when the lights go out on Amazon, please leave an honest review. When the lights go out, that's my book that I wrote on my iPhone. And also my mama's book, The Mexican Mix, baby, The Mexican Mix. Please leave an honest review on that. And folks, get your GLP-1, Trimwinino. We've all seen the headlines about 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗹. It currently has it's on 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 right now. You're hearing from Roy Jones Jr. himself, myself, and Ron talking about the testosterone crisis, the silent war on men. And this is absolutely part of the elitist agenda to take out the competitive alpha male. Real things, this is a real subject we talk about on 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏𝗏. I'll also air it on YouTube. I'm going to be talking to 𝗬𝗏 after this. We're going to do a podcast talking about, I think his name is Sasha Riley. There's a lot of stuff going on with Sasha Riley right now, throwing Trump under the bus, saying he's a predator. But what perfect timing for Sasha Riley to come out with all this on the heels of Hillary and Bill Clinton. So here we are, 2026 midterms in jeopardy. Could be, but like I said, they'll happen, but most likely after an executive order has been signed and military on the street. And this could all go hand in hand with the Insurrection Act. The whole shebang, folks, could all be happening at one time. But you got to remember, it's got to be just right. It seems chaotic right now. And ICE seems like they're really bad people. But think about the protesters out there who are protecting the deported. Who are they really protecting? Well, we know who they're protecting. I can't say it on BluffTube, but we all know what majority of these people are guilty of. First of all, they broke the law coming here. That's illegal. That's illegal coming here. You break the law. But all the other things that they're guilty of, some really bad hombres coming from Venezuela, Mexico, El Salvador, folks, bad people. And I have John Carman today, who's going to be joining me very soon. United States Secret Service John Carman, former United States Secret Service John Carman, also worked customs, the whole thing. He's going to give us his own perspective on all of this. So this is going to be very interesting. And I appreciate everyone joining me later in the day today. So I really appreciate that. So, all right, folks, when you truly understand the operation at hand, you understand things must escalate, and things must get out of control, get out of hand. Trump is now hinting at the Insurrection Act, but my thoughts on this are It's not exactly time just yet. Not just yet. It would be a premature move for Trump. Remember that the globalist plan is to spiral the country into chaos and civil war. They will not accomplish civil war to the extent that they want it, but civil unrest will unfold. They will definitely get their civil unrest. Now, I've heard 200 cities or more, and then it falls back on 14. That's been gamed out. It's been gamed out that it will happen everywhere, but once it's under control, the fallback will be 14 cities, 14 Democratic hellholes: Chicago, Baltimore, Portland, San Francisco, LA, etc. I don't need to list them all. You all know what I'm talking about. So we are seeing just the beginning of where this is all going. This should catch fire into an uncontrollable blaze. There you go. Perfect. There's the 14 cities. There's a lot of them there. But let's just remember that once this stuff starts happening, also conflicts are going to boil over. Conflicts with, I don't know, Iran, Greenland, Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. Now, Juan's going to break some news on my show on 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏 about Mexico. Very important intel about Mexico on 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏. I'm going to jump on with him right after this, hopefully, if I can get a hold of him. So he's going to break some intel about what's happening within Mexico. That's very important for me because I'm on the border. So I can't wait to hear this. But let's also remember that when this does go military, remember the weapons the military has used, and they could use it for crowd control. But let's take Venezuela, for example. Guys were bent over, kneeling on the floor, vomiting blood, ears were bleeding, eyes were bleeding. That's the technology we're using, folks. So imagine we use that on crowd control. Imagine the Insurrection Act and we use that on crowd control. Now, it's supposed to be non-lethal, but the people that say that it's happened, the people that it's happened to say that it's something that they've never witnessed before, ever felt before. The pain was off the charts, but hey, they went to bed that night and slept well, I guess. They weren't dead. So could we use this type of technology, these frequency-based weapons on our own people for crowd control? So there's a very polarizing divide right here. This is where people say, you know, this is a military state. This is it. This is what's happening. Then you have the other side saying, well, we got to get rid of the illegal immigrants. This is the way it's done. You're protecting people that are career criminals. So there's two sides to this coin. But when you really look at it from the perspective, you know, folks, I always say, you know, me, I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I always say problem, reaction, solution. Maybe it's the same hand controlling the whole thing. And this is how they're playing us against each other. I don't know. But I just don't think they'd give up power that easily. And I'm not saying that Trump is wittingly a part of this. I think he is saving us from a communist Marxist agenda. No doubt about it. But you always got to think outside of the chess game being played, at least optically for all of us. All these conflicts will boil over at the exact same time. And what else will happen? Well, what's happening right now? War with the Federal Reserve, the fake monopoly money fiat currency. All of this is coming to a head at precisely the right time. Will it be the Great Reset or the Great We-Set? Let the Hunger Games begin, folks. Yeah. All right, so breaking. Tom Homan is now meeting with President Trump tomorrow. Today, it'd be today because I put this up last night. I was doing the work. And to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis. Be interesting. We'll see. This could be huge if he does this. Now, I said more cities need to boil over. I don't think he's going to make a premature move. That's just me. But everyone's saying Homan is right. Invoke the Insurrection Act. Let's get moving. Trump on 2026 midterms. We shouldn't even have an election, he was quoted saying. But President Donald Trump rejecting criticism from within his own party, the economic challenges facing the American people. And polling on Greenland suggested that his second-term accomplishments were so extensive that they should render the 2026 midterm elections unnecessary. Now he's hinting at something that's coming. In an interview with Reuters, whatever, President Donald Trump expressed frustration that Republicans may lose control of the House of Representatives and possibly the Senate in the November midterm elections. But folks, I'm telling you, he has a trick. He has an ace up his sleeve. And that is what we're all expecting, right? We're all expecting this executive order to be signed. National emergency executive order. What comes first? I don't know. Also, Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0. He's calling it some deep psychological thing, Trump derangement syndrome. Trump said that when you win the presidency, you don't win the midterms. That's just usually what happens. Then he boasted of his accomplishments, telling the reporter, when you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election. Trump told the syndicate reportedly dismissed concerns by the public, business leaders, and even his fellow Republicans on issues ranging from the future of Greenland and the criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Here it comes, Jerome Powell, to the state of the economy. So my observation in all this, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, is national emergency executive order to be signed. And yes, that may come with, in certain select cities, military to ensure that they're safe and secure. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So Canadian, British, and German troops in Greenland, but Trump and White House stay defiant. So the White House has said the arrival of European troops in Greenland will not change Donald Trump's ambitions to acquire the Arctic island. I don't think the troops in Europe impact the president's decision-making process or impact his goal of the acquisition of Greenland at all, the White House says. Now, remember, folks, we're so far superior in everybody in technology and weaponry. The frequency weapons that we have, just that alone, will make every man stand down, bend over, vomit blood, and scream for their mother. That's really what we have. That's where we're at. And Trump has said it's his own morality that's holding him back from world domination. So what is 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝗂, the Colombian president, Cuba, what are they going to do? They're outgunned. Remember, folks, this must go military. And I'm guessing the only way we get to that scare crisis is a rogue type of nuclear submarine, something out of China, to scare the hell out of everybody to where it switches from SES to Cheyenne and NORAD. Going to be very interesting to see. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on John Carman right now. John Carman, thank you so much for joining me, man. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you. We're live, baby.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
I was just checking my timeline. Past presidents have done the Insurrection Act all the way back to Thomas Jefferson on, guess the date, April 19, 1808. Wow. April 19 is a very prophetic date in our own history. Lexington Concord, the 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗹 building, 1995, April 19. So all these other incidents go all the way back. And everybody freaks out because they want you to think that's martial law. It's not. He could do Insurrection Act state by state by state. He could do California, hint, hint.
So what happens with the Insurrection Act? That gives him military powers to release the military
he'll deputize the National Guard in what state? Like, let's say Alabama. I've dealt with people that were out of Alabama, Governor Wallace, back in the 60s, because of the diversity thing about sending black kids to school, stuff like that. So he sent down his AG down there to serve papers on them. And they had National Guard to prevent certain things. He turned right around and ordered them. He is the commander-in-chief, the CIC. He could tell them what to do. If they fail, guess what happens to those guys? They get arrested by U.S. Marshals and sent to Gitmo in nice places like Leavenworth. They won't do that. They're not.
So do you think it's the right time right now to do the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis? Or
what you said earlier is very apropos. Look that one up, folks, apropos, which means it's very appropriate and timely because of other incidents that are going on around. You have to wait to the right moment. He could have done it the other day. He could have invaded Iran. They were killing people. He told them, stop killing people or else. And then I kept telling him for years, 𝗬𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗶, the son of the former Shah, HRH, His Royal Highness, would be a perfect shoe-in. That's kind of a deep state maneuver, but we can still put it to preserve their democracy. So he could do the Insurrection Act for California. Let's say he could arrest Gavin Newsom. They can use directed energy weapons. They could do all these high technological things without hurting people. And yet they allow these protesters who are not normal citizens. They are highly trained agitators. I've run across them at the border at Tijuana, 𝗬𝗎 myself, and they put communist agitators in there among little Marias, you know, the old ladies with the crosses and the candles.
Who the protesters think they're really protecting.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pulling this stuff
completely misinformed, correct?
Yeah. Then they have the photographers hiding in the wings. So as soon as they burn the American flag and some idiot decides to step on it, they'll take pictures of that, makes it look like you're doing something else.
So we're really fighting against the mainstream. Obviously, we're fighting against the mainstream media, the propaganda mixed in.
Oh, yeah, because everybody's dumbed down. They don't know what goes on unless they're in the government like I was and a few other people. But I'm trying to back up on my thought here, is that you don't have many protesters in Mexico. You know why? They shoot them. People need to wake up to that. Then they come up here to protest, wave their flag. That's great, but take it back to Mexico. Oh no, why not? They'll shoot me. Really? See, they're playing us. They are playing us. Trump's got more tools on the chessboard than you realize. And I'm gonna predict when he's already back there now. He left a couple hours ago. I monitor everything. So when he gets comfortable, he's had his quarter pounder and a Diet Coke and all that stuff.
He really does eat that shit.
he's gonna have to change his diet. I've already.
I don't know how he does it, but I thought it was
he's got more testosterone than most males, according to a doctor's report. Okay, and I go, that's a good report, but once he gets settled in and he's had his lunch or whatever, has meetings, and he's in his comfort zone, you know what? I think we're going to do it. He'll just make a phone call. If he doesn't have his military aid, which he does right there anyway, and another guy carrying a suitcase, the football, then let it happen. Let it happen. Let it rip. The problem is they should be shooting some of these protesters for self-defense.
So federal agent shoots man in Minneapolis, prompting tense protests. So they're picking up, they're really kicking into high gear. The agent shot a Venezuelan man who was resisting arrest.
Oh, yeah.
An official said protesters and law enforcement officers clashed for hours as city officials urged people to go home. A federal agent shot and injured a man in Minneapolis on Wednesday evening, federal officials said. An incident that touched off hours of clashes between protesters and law enforcement officers, and that came just a week after immigration agent killed a woman in the city. 𝗬𝗏, a spokesman for the Department of Homeland Security, said in a statement that federal agents were trying to arrest a man from Venezuela who was in the country illegally in a targeted traffic stop at around 6:50 p.m. She said that that he fled the agents, which is illegal. When the officer caught up to him, Ms. McLaughlin said he began to resist and violently assault the officer. She said two people came out of the nearby buildings and, along with the man being sought, attacked the officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. This is insane. Right. This is insanity.
Well, let me comment real quick before you go too deep. I just pulled up the picture of this guy that just got arrested, Raul Gutierrez. 33, Latin Kings. Latin Kings. He's one of the guys with the tattoo that got caught pulling out the armory box out of an FBI agent's undercover car. Okay. But as far as guys getting shot in the leg, we are not taught to shoot people in the friggin' leg. That is something from the civilians. Oh, why don't you shoot him in the leg? Why did you have to shoot him and kill him? Well, because we're trained to shoot two to the chest, one to the head, two to the, you know, it's on and on. But
So
those are liberals.
Who shot him in the leg? The agent shot the Venezuelan in the leg,
The agent,
correct?
yeah, the agent shot him. Maybe it was an accident. And when he pulled his gun out, it popped off before he could aim up to the chest. Maybe that happened. You know what I mean? But it doesn't training.
Do you think they're being a little more reluctant on what they do, their aggressiveness? They're kind of pulling back a little bit. Like maybe he felt like he should have shot him in the chest, but instead he pulled back a little bit.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me break down. There's a lot of guys out there that are not trained properly like I was. They're not cuffing people up right away. I've seen it. They're giving them too many chances. Oh, yeah, I've heard this at the border. Oh, 𝗀𝗃𝗂𝗁𝗀𝗃. I'm sorry, you only got 2 or 3 and you gave them all up. That's it. So by the time a real agent starts to pull his gun out, it's always usually too late. That's very dangerous because other people might get injured because he hesitated. Do not hesitate. These guys, a lot of them, appear and profile as desk jockeys. If they're desk jockeys, they need to ramp up their training. Now, if I'm out there and they got one guy blocked in with his car, he got blocked up in the front, he was ordered out, then he backs up into another car, he couldn't go any further, then they got him, and then they finally got him out on the ground. By that time, they had pulled guns. You know what? I hate to second guess people because I've been there, done that. You pull your gun out, doesn't mean you have to shoot. There's another liberal left-wing stupidity thing. Oh, once you pull your gun, you got to shoot. No, I pulled my gun out dozens of times, mostly at the border. And no, I didn't have to shoot, so I put it away. No problem. Once you shoot, then you cause an action. Internal affairs has to come down. They have to do a shooting thing, an investigation, all that. Right, I get it. But if he's wrong and you had to shoot, you do it for self-defense and defense of others and innocent people around you. These people are not innocent. Like I just said, Gutierrez, age 33, that guy's a pendejo grande from the Latin Kings, okay?
Grande.
Yeah, so that guy needs to be taken down. These other people are also highly dangerous and trained. They still got away with a firearm or an automatic weapon. Go ahead.
So how many people are we deporting a day? I've heard it's 3,000, 3,000 to 5,000 a day. Are those consistent? Are those right numbers, you think?
Yeah, I've heard the same numbers. We're still into the fact that the Biden administration, let's emphasize Biden, Harris, all those liberal left-wing communists, they're not Democrats, they're communists. Anytime I heard a guy at work say, oh, those liberals, excuse me, you mean communists. They're not liberals. They're in the millions. And Christine just got a new assistant director of ICE. I think he's an attorney. That's all we need is another attorney. We need more enforcement people with real experience. Okay, so more people.
I'm going to read this right here. It says exclusive secret ICE programs revealed. Operations Bench Warmer, Tidal Wave, Abracadabra, Dust Off, Fleur de Lis. These are just a few of the secret programs recently undertaken by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE has become a self-appointed bouncer for America, which they should be, under Donald Trump, enlisting tens of thousands of federal, state, and local police and intelligence departments and agencies to not just root out illegals, but also exploit them for intelligence leaked documents show. Border Patrol officials outraged by ICE's conduct has leaked to me It's leaked to me this and other documents providing an unprecedented glimpse into ICE's undeclared activities across the country. This guy should be arrested, right, for leaking these documents?
Depends on where he got the documents. It's like the case on the Secret Service guy that we were going to talk about on another situation. Once you got into the Secret Service, like this one guy, he was releasing information through a Tinder date through another guy named 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃, that guy, the ambush journalist guy. And he was literally showing his badge and credential. They got it on video. He's talking about movements of the president, vice president. That's a violation. He should be in jail right now and on his way to Gitmo. This other guy, leakers, they leaked information about an espionage case, and it was information about military and so on and so forth. They need to arrest those people. Those are espionage agents, and then they get arrested under the Espionage Act.
It says the 15-page long document marked law enforcement sensitive, details 21 different major ICE operations resulting, so it says, in 6,852 apprehensions since June. From Operation A covert effort to develop informants among immigrants in detention, to Operation Benchwarmer, which alone spans the deployment of 2,000 intelligence assets across the country. The document gives a sense of how aggressively ICE is scouring neighborhoods and developing sources to spy on immigrants and Americans alike. So they had to throw that in there.
Okay, so translating, right? It means when they hesitate to do certain enforcement, we're going to turn a few of those people, if they're good people that came here with other backgrounds, other intentions, or served, no different than Middle Eastern people that served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other countries in the Middle East that did favors for our country. We give them a fast-track green card in less than 2 years, usually a year to 18 months. Once they do those things, like the guy that got caught shooting at one of our National Guard and killing a female on 17th and I Street in D.C., that guy was one of those people that they brought in. So if they're still doing this, they're not openly just arresting everybody, but they're arresting a lot of them. It'll take 4 years to get close to the numbers that Biden did the damage. Biden and Harris, high treason, 18 U.S.C. 2381, and all the rest of them need to be sent to prison. Nobody's doing that yet. But in the meantime, we're trying to twist it around to use them.
So it says here, Trump threatens to use the Insurrection Act and end protests in Minneapolis. President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy troops to quell persistent protests against the federal officers sent to Minneapolis to enforce his administration's massive immigration crackdown. The threat comes a day after a man was shot and wounded by an immigration officer who had been attacked with a shovel and a broom handle. Did you also see that they're throwing buckets of water in areas that are freezing over so that the
I saw that. I saw that. They're purposely putting it out to draw a wet line on the snow so it causes it to be icy, slippery. But let me go back to the 21-foot rule, which is if you have a knife and you approach somebody, then you have to pull your gun to defend yourself. You better do it quick, because if they run at you, they're going to be less than 21 feet. Once they cut you a certain way, it's a matter of how much time before you pass out and die. Exactly. Now, 21 foot, they allegedly passed an order, an executive, or some other policy, 25 foot for these people, these protesters. If they're not back 25 feet, it's time to shoot. Listen up, folks, real bullets. I heard somebody complain, oh my God, they're shooting real bullets. They're not rubber, they're not whatever. Yeah, folks, time to take off the gloves.
So do you think that it's going to be very soon, if they're already looking for all these different methods to stop ICE, it's only a matter of time before bullets start flying?
I'm watching every day. I look at this watch every day. I'm watching right now. I'm waiting right now.
But John, really though, it's only a matter of time before real bullets start flying at ICE.
They have real bullets, but they waste time on tasing a few up close. They use the pepper spray capsules, pellets.
I'm talking about protesters firing.
No. That's what I'm talking about. They're using all these alternate methods not to use real bullet. If I go out there, and I just looked at the timeline back to the Rodney King incident years ago, they had the same basic stuff that I had. You have a belt with a gun and cuffs and bullets. Maybe you might have a mace. Maybe you might have a baton nearby, but not normally. That's it. It goes from verbal and visual, the pyramid of escalation of force, visual, verbal authority. You're telling people to back off. They don't back off, and they try to advance on you. It goes straight to deadly force at the top, straight up. If I was at the White House and they did that, somebody jumps the fence, the gun's out.
So
the gun is out.
Let me ask you this, John. So obviously we saw with the protests in LA, the troops, if he invokes the Insurrection Act, what does that look like? Does that mean they can fire on citizens?
No, they wouldn't fire on citizens. They're going to fire on these communist infiltrators if they decide to confront them. Citizens, Americans, are not going to go out there on their time off, like these alleged mothers with 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, right? And if they go out there and they want to do that, then they're no longer civilians. They're not innocent.
But look at the Karen that just got shot in Minneapolis. I mean, she was screaming.
I know, but you have to look at the terminology. A innocent person does not go out there to confront ICE with badges and guns to confront them because they're doing their job. Those are agitators. They changed their classification as soon as they stepped out there and try to agitate them. It's
fair enough.
War.
But, I mean, I'm saying an American citizen can choose to do this. I agree with you. They're agitators, but they may think they're in the right, that they're on the right side of history doing this.
There are a lot of crazy people. I've profiled these people. Every incident I watch every day, 24/7, I profile these people. A lot of them are mental cases. They're crazy, and they do deserve attention. I just saw where some Australian cops ran over a guy with a knife. Oh, that beats them having to shoot him at the 21-foot rule, and it worked. You knock him down, and then they kick the knife away. There you go. The continuum of force pyramid. Was that right? Yeah, that's right.
All right, folks, time for the mid-roll, baby. We've all seen the headlines. Yeah, I'm doing it again about Ozempic and similar miracle weight loss shots. But a major 20 Homeland Security official told the Associated Press. The official spoke to AP on condition of anonymity in order to discuss Ross's medical condition. The official did not provide details about the severity of the injuries, and the agency did not respond to questions about the bleeding, how he suffered the injury, when it was diagnosed, or his medical treatment. Good was killed after the 3 ICE officers surrounded her SUV on a snowy street near her. See, it says here it was near her home. I also heard that it was, she drove 300 miles to be there. So which is it? Was it near her home, or did she drive 300 miles?
Home, but I didn't remember hearing 300 miles. But what's interesting is he previously got hit and dragged previous to that. He got 20 stitches, and then they followed up with the additional 13 stitches, which makes that 33. It gets into prophetic stuff here. Yeah. So, it's really a shame that some idiot had to go out there, and she was not a nice person. She had a history, and her girlfriend, wife, lesbian girlfriend, she also caused that to happen. She should also be charged with conspiring to cause that action.
You know, she's a millionaire now.
Then she should be charged anyway.
All the GoFundMe donations.
Oh yeah, the GoFundMe stuff. Yeah.
She got millions. I think it's over 2.
I'm sorry. Who got the money posthumously?
Christy, what's her name? Anna, what's her name? Renee Nicole.
The girlfriend.
Her girlfriend did.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe I know Dolly Parton's giving them money. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
These people are bleeding hearts. They're liberals. They don't know anything. You know, and even when these guys get out there and these Karens, the ones that just like to scream at you.
There's one right there. Look at that. Look at that one. Look at these.
I know.
People.
That's why I said it. They're blowing their whistles. They're doing nighttime stuff with flashing lights. Like I got one right here. If you hit it on flash and you do it continually, you know, you're going to get blinded. Now, if you get a laser light and you're out there at nighttime, that's a felony. If you shine a laser light at a helicopter pilot or an airplane pilot, that's a felony. Why is that? Because it blinds you, and then it could cause another accident. So, you know what?
The protesters are doing.
I'm just in the mood to shoot.
So the protesters they're using every method possible.
Yeah, those are professional things. Whistleblowing, lights in your eyes, bang, bang, bang with the empty pan and a spoon thing. I came across people like that at the border at 𝗧𝗏𝗏. I went down there undercover just to take some pictures and see what was going on. And some guy confronted me at a distance. And I didn't look like anybody. I had a suit and tie on, but I didn't look anybody. You know, he started to agitate me, trying to come towards me. I said, what are you talking about? And I'm just lying to him because I don't have to tell him anything. But I was ready to pull my gun on him because he wanted to get close. I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here to make a phone call. Blah, 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 blah. You know, cállate, pendejo. Muévete, ponga sus manos arriba. I'm sorry, I slip into my Spanish after a while, you know.
It's not bad. Muévate.
Oh, I used to do it every day. Que trae de Mexico, ¿dónde vas? ¿Dónde naciste? Habla 𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗹, ponga sus manos, you know, it goes on and on.
Yeah, because you worked customs.
Yeah, 15 años.
You worked at the border.
15.
So see, it seems to me like You know, a lot of these people right now, you
Here we
know,
go. Here we go.
oh, there it is, folks. There you go. There's the light shining in there. So that's illegal for them to do.
Yes.
So
if
if
you
they
try to
aim
blind me,
oh wow.
if you try to blind me and I'm trying to defend myself, I'm going to shoot that light. Oops, they had it up near their head. Oops.
So that's good. So someone, any protester that has that flashlight like that, shining it at you, you have
Yes.
the right to shoot them?
John Carman has a right to shoot them. I have the training. These other guys, that's their decision. You know what I mean? If they want to shoot people in the leg, do it. But the problem is they better have first aid out there. But if you're trying to do something that impacts on your safety and you're trying to recover an agent who just got attacked and they're trying to come up to you and blind you, oh yeah, the gun comes out. Once again, hey, look, I'll give you an example. I was at the other part of the border, which was way west of San Ysidro, towards the border field, which is a lot of border patrol. And there was a place less than 300 yards from San Ysidro where it goes into Mexico, Tijuana. They had a bunch of guys run through at the Virginia gate, which was a commercial gate where we would let certain people come and go in a small entranceway. And all of a sudden, some illegals ran through from Mexico, you know. And then all of a sudden, I grabbed one guy with my left hand, and a guy was throwing rocks from across the fence on top of an aqueduct. And there's Mexican officials. They're not doing 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗃, how's your German? So out comes the gun. I'm protecting myself, and I got one in the hand. You know, one in the hand is worth two in the bush. So I'm thinking if I shot that guy, that would look bad. Shooting across the border creates an international incident. Of course it does, but he threw a rock at me to my side of the border, which is an international incident. So he tried to assault me. If he had hit me, I'm shooting him. If he hit me in the head, that's why Border Patrol started carrying M16s. There we go. M16s.
So let me ask you this, you know, so everyone knows I grew up on the border, and you just made me think of something right now. We used to get in fights in Juarez, right? Bar fights, the knockout, drag out bar fights, horrible. And I remember there's a few times I beat up a couple of the police officers, right? And they would chase me, the Mexican police officers, they would chase me. Yeah, and I was running for my life, and right when I got to the American flag, they had to stop. So, but they never
They cannot enter the United States territory, and I've had cops one time try to come up to chase a guy. They already came into the United States territory, but up to the booth, and I'll get out and I'll say, okay, I've already got him. You guys could turn around, go back. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. Hands across the border thing, right? Hands across the border, shake hands. I've worked in Mexico armed. We have diplomatic passport, diplomatic status. Excuse me, John Carman, 𝗬𝗏 especial con servicio secreto. I have special background, which means I had special category type stuff that I could work with.
So let me ask you this, John, and I've always been curious about this. So let's say if the cops, if they really wanted to, and I was running, right, for my life, and I beat up one of them or something like that happens, and I'm running.
Whatever happens.
Can they call the Border Patrol on my side to apprehend me?
Oh, they would call U.S. Customs. Border Patrol doesn't have jurisdiction.
That never happened. They never.
No, we've had people a lady. I'll give you another example. A lady who was maybe drunk or not, accidentally hit somebody, and the right front windshield cracked because the body, the head, may have hit somebody. She drove up, and we took her inside, and there was still hair attached to the inside because glass crimps things when you hit it. CHP did a courtesy report. You cannot return a U.S. citizen back to another country. That's illegal. They would have to agree to an extradition, which she would not do. And same thing in Europe.
But the police, so I was right. Once I made it to my side, even if it's just an inch, they can't cross that inch to get me.
King's X.
Gosh, that's crazy.
You're safe.
So that
King's
imaginary
X.
line.
Yeah, you could go down there and commit something or have an accident, run back. And I've had other people I've actually had to save at the border because they were trying to get back. I would take them inside, check them while I'm talking to them. Where were you born? They're speaking English to me. Oh my God, somebody's chasing me, trying to kill me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go inside. I'm going to pat him down, see if he's got any evidence or guns or, did he do something? And, things happen. That's human nature. I'm a cop too, That's all part of that profile. So a lot of things have happened at the border that it's very intricate and international law applies. No different than the female that accidentally killed somebody in Europe. And that was a diplomat, the wife of a diplomat. And she was advised to get on the plane and to return her back to her country. It might have been the United States. I forget if it was England or the United States. The same thing when diplomats are here, they have special status too when they go to meetings in New York.
So, folks, U.S. strike on Iran called off last minute. According to a military analyst, 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶, Donald Trump personally intervened late last night to halt a planned U.S. strike on Iran. Iranian airspace has since reopened. Assets scrambled from Al-Udeid Air Force Base were ordered to return and remain on standby. Mission reportedly canceled minutes before execution. Why Trump pulled the plug? Trump has told advisors he will only authorize action that delivers a decisive blow to the Iranian regime. Officials could not guarantee regime collapse after a strike and warned the U.S. may lack sufficient regional assets to counter a major Iranian retaliation. Now, Iran has said, you come at us, we're going to bomb embassies. So obviously, folks, we got to be ready for anything they do. And plus, even on here domestically, something could happen. You better believe there's 50 million immigrants here, unvetted. You better believe there's some here, Hezbollah, Hamas, and anything is possible. Obviously, you see a lot of people coming out, is circling all the social media that we could be expecting a massive, massive terror attack, 9/11 type style terrorist attack. What's your thoughts on that, John?
Well, I go back to when the 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶, the Shah of Iran, was friends with Nixon back in the late 60s, early 70s. We had Iranian students that were out there protesting near or in front of the White House. They had the 𝗬𝗏, which is the secret police, the bad guys from the Iranian secret police, taking pictures. So if they did something, they would retaliate. They were killing people daily in the thousands in the last several days. That's why Trump stepped up his threats, and he has a right to do it. And the Ayatollah is a lying Muslim pendejo, because I know these things. I know a Muslim that is an expert at this stuff, and that's what they do. They'll lie to you. That's the control part. They're burning down mosques in Tehran and Iran. Never have I seen where they actually burning down the mosques. That's how upset these people want their freedom, and they need our help. So I would plead for them. And I saw recent photographs and videos of 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶 Jr., who was born on October 31st, 1963. That means he's 63 right now, approximately, 62, 63. And he would be a shoo-in easily to take over and let them go back to what they had before, except it would be like a king, HRH, His Royal Highness status. They will do it. But the problem is they need to get rid of the Sharia law. They need to get rid of these terrorists. And it doesn't matter. They can go in there and snap him out like they did Maduro. And the Cubans, by the way, the Cubans, they got a bunch of those guys that were captured after the Maduro incident. They returned 32 boxes of remains to Cuba, about this big, their remains. So wow. There he is, 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶 Jr.
So let me ask you about this. Facing contempt threat, Clintons refused to testify in Epstein inquiry. Bill and Hillary Clinton refused on Tuesday to testify in the House's Jeffrey Epstein investigation, escalating a months-long battle with its Republican leader, Representative James R. Comer of Kentucky, who quickly said he would take steps to hold them in contempt of Congress. Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. The Clintons wrote in a lengthy letter to Mr. Comer. Are you kidding me? So what should happen? What's going to happen from here? I mean, your Secret Service.
What they're going to do is they're going to claim that the president has immunity. The president does technically have immunity. However, when you get into 18 U.S.C. 2381, which is high treason, that's a different ballgame. And Hillary does not have that status either.
No, and let's remember what they did to Trump. That was the seal breaking. They broke the seal by going after Trump. So now everyone's fair game. So that was an important move by the White Hats, folks, to let that happen the way it did, because now the seal has been broken. The fact that they went after Trump, now everybody's fair game, right, John?
That's correct. And in fact, how many times have you heard if Hillary said once, she said it a dozen times, if you take me down, half of DC will go with me. Well, get on with it. Get on with it. Do it. Why are they wasting time? See, everything is timely, but we only have 3 to 4 years, and the year anniversary is coming up in a couple of days, and we need to get things done as fast as possible because there's only so much time, because international incidents are happening. We get involved, and everybody's like, oh, worry about China, worry about Ukraine. Forget about those other people. Do what we need to do first to help people. And we're going to help millions of Iranians at the same time. We're helping millions of Venezuelans and people who want us to be there to register everything back to the conditions where it should be. So we're putting everything right, and they don't like that. But that's why Democrats are communists, and it's a Trojan horse for many, many years. All those NGOs, all those fake programs, the money. I'm sorry, Tim Walz, $19 billion. What?
What happens to Tim if Trump does sign the Insurrection Act for Minneapolis? What happens to Tim Walz? He has to stop his rhetoric.
Well, what John Carman knows is he should be the first guy that's arrested, and while he's being taken away to a police car, strip searched down, and handcuffed up, you're going to hear him complaining all the way, screaming like a I won't say it.
John, we're getting close to the end of the program here. Do you want to stay with me for a couple more articles?
Sure.
All right. Oprah Winfrey reveals. What's that?
Send me lots of oro.
Oh,
pesos oro.
So Alex, put John Carman's Venmo up there. It's John-Carman-17. Right, John?
Correct.
That's his Venmo. So John can go get some tacos, folks.
Tacos,
he really likes the hairy tacos.
That's what poor people eat, and I'm eating it. Hey, you got to get your testosterone up by eating the right food. Don't eat the other stuff. The milk is contaminated. That's why they get milk from Canada, and Canadian. They're sending our Milky Way bars to be made in Canada now, and it's got modified bioengineered.
What was the Venmo real quick? Sorry, guys.
Go ahead. What is that, Alex?
John-Carman. Just that.
CARMAN-17.
Okay.
Yes, he says.
Carman-17. That's his Venmo, folks.
CARMAN.
All right. So let me get to the next one. Oprah Winfrey reveals she piled on 20 pounds during her break from weight loss drugs. So obviously Ozempic, right? So the U.S. broadcaster
you spelled it wrong. MAN-CARMAN.
Oh.
Carman.
Oh,
I know. There you go.
There it is.
Correct the mundo.
All right. Give him some change, folks, so he can get some tacos. He's doing this for tacos. John works for tacos. The U.S. broadcaster who turned 72 at the end of the month had famously struggled with her weight for her entire life until 2023, when she began taking an undisclosed amount of GLP-1. She was inspired to take the medication, which reduces appetite, by working on hunger hormones and silencing food noise after seeing a documentary which positioned obesity as a disease rather than a lifestyle failure. At her heaviest, she weighed 237 pounds. Damn.
Oh,
I didn't know she
my
was
God.
that big. But after taking the medicine, she lost around 50 pounds. However, she has gained all that weight back, at least half of the weight back. And
What
that's
did you
what
say, gordita?
medication. Gordita.
Yeah. But some guys call their wives gordita and all kinds of interesting terms. She's taking too much adrenochrome, folks. That's what that's all about.
Oh. All right.
Oh,
That's
adrenochrome?
No, don't say that. Don't say that on here.
No puede hablar en español, inglés, that palabra. Okay, got it.
So Julio Iglesias accused of sexual assault in Caribbean as Spanish prosecutors study the allegations. I remember when this guy was like the heartthrob of every woman. Julio Iglesias. I remember he came to El Paso, sold out the stadium like 2-3 times. So now
To all the women he knew.
but it's kind of ironic, right? Like now that he's older, he's a creep. When he was younger, he got away with everything. He could hit on any woman he wanted, but now it's a sexual assault. You know, so I mean, so now look at the guy. I mean, there's pictures of him. Can you pull up any pictures of 𝗂𝘂𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗂, Alex?
Hey, I used to get a lot of movie stars coming from Mexicali. Jose, I patted him down because they forgot to declare over $30,000 to $50,000.
Who the hell's Jose?
Jose is kind of a short guy who's a singer, Mexicano. How about the big tall guy, Carrillo? You know, with the sombrero. Every time he would sing, he'd take a sombrero off, and he had a gun and everything. Yeah, I get to meet him. He was famous. He had a mustache, dark mustache.
Oh yeah. So there he is. Is that him now, Alex?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, he's looking beat. Yeah. I mean, dude, people get older, right? But see, he still thinks he's probably 25, 30. He's still firing on chicks, and they're like, ew, he's a creep. Man, life is unfair, folks. Life is unfair. So there's 𝗂𝘂𝗍𝗂𝗍. Now he's got allegations of sexual assault, facing those charges. I mean, this is just what happens when you start getting older, right, John? You're still batting pretty good, right?
Well, I'm 72. Don't smoke, don't drink. I take supplements. I know all about all this stuff, 𝗵𝗵𝗏 and all these other things because I have to keep on top of it. But you will never see a person with my background that this is still active in the head and very smart. I just can't go out and run 6 miles a day like I used to.
So, John, I'm curious. Do you believe in the moon landing?
Yes and no. Now, here's the philosophy. I believe we did land, but they covered it up claiming, oh, no, we didn't land because they can't talk about the aliens that were there and the dark side where it's full of all kinds of aliens. So that's the counter story to that.
That's okay. So I don't think we win. I think maybe shadow government. I
have different sources that are DARPA connected too. But,
right. I think maybe that, yes, but I don't think Apollo, 13, 16, all of them. I don't think they went. I think that was all the race.
I've seen the moon rock, but they even had it on display at the federal law enforcement. Yeah, I get it, but it's such a deep secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're going to have to push the agenda of the aliens, which is coming next. The whole deception with that. And that's why they got to propel and perpetuate this moon landing shit.
Hey, we got enough aliens from another planet and dimension here on the planet than we have to worry about.
I think the aliens are inner aliens. I think they're interterrestrials. I think they're here already. And I think they could be the fallen. I think it all adds up to biblically. I don't know how it works out, but I think it's connected in some way, shape, or form. But anyway, in what the fuck news, listen to this, folks. Startup unveils plans for lunar resort on the moon with hotel rooms advertised for $1 million. Tell me if this is not a rip-off scam. Galactic Resource Utilization Space, aka GRU, plans to open the resort on the lunar surface by 2032. The startup firm hopes building work will begin 2029. So they're going to start taking investors for $1 million a room. Adventurers can book a hotel room on the moon for an out-of-this-world deal and a deposit of $1 million. A startup has announced plans to open a resort on the lunar surface by 2032, built from dust and soil on the surface. Aspiring space tourists can secure a room for $1 million. See, first, you got to convince me we went. Second, you got to get building materials on the moon. So what? Separate space shuttles are going to be going to the moon 200,000 miles away. You know how many tanks of gas that's going to, none of this adds up, folks. It doesn't make any sense. It's bullshit. But they're going to rip off, in my mind, they're going to rip off a lot of investors. And they're going to say, hey, it's a risky investment, but hey, you'll get a room on the moon, man. And if you buy into this shit, you deserve to lose your money. That's the way
Elon
I see it.
Musk. You know, Elon Musk, that guy's got so much money. He'll throw a phallic symbol up into the sky, bring it back, and land it. Now, I'm pretty impressed about that. But we've got higher technology that people don't get, that we don't need all that stuff. We don't need to drill, baby, drill. We don't need coal. It's electromagnetic. Tesla, 369. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
million.
Think about it.
360.
about it.
That's how many stitches I got in my jaw.
I did not know that. We need to talk about that off the show sometime.
Yeah.
33, 369 are special frequencies that gets into the technology, free energy. By the way, I want to say thank you to two of the listeners. Just add 6 more zeros to those $20 donations, please.
Hey, John.
Gracias, Amundo.
Oh yeah, definitely give to John Carman. He's a hell of a patriot. He's one of my favorite guests. I appreciate you coming on, John. Let's get on to ninoscorner.tv and finish up there. You want to?
Sure.
All right, folks. We'll see you at ninoscorner.tv, folks. See you there right now. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the Black Sheep of broadcasting, baby.